What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Minute channel. And this video is a little bit weird because I didn't even think about it before I started kind of recording it and everything. Originally, my intention on this particular video was to talk about my favorite Shin Megami Tensei games, but then I realized some of the games that I was trying to think about are not SMT games, they're just part of Atlus games, and I figured I will talk about all my favorite series in the Atlus, the things that Atlus does, some things that I haven't talked about in my channel too much, things that I talk a lot in my channel like Persona, and I just figured I will talk about this video here, drink my coffee, just talk to you guys about what I like and so on. And if you're new, please consider liking and subscribing. I do talk about Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, that kind of stuff in my channel, so if you like that, please consider liking and subscribing there. But anyway, this is not ranked or listed or anything like that. I just have my favorite Atlus game. Again, originally this was gonna be SMT games, but then again I started thinking about things like Persona, what games in Persona I like, things like the anyway, I'll tell you as the video starts. And we're gonna start with something that obviously some Shin Megami Tensei games that I like, and we're gonna start with congratulating SMT3, meaning Nocturne, because it is now 15 years old, and it is hard to believe that this game is this old because it is an amazing game. It really one of the first SMT games that I ever played besides the Persona games, which I guess you could qualify and say no, they're not really Persona games, but you know what I'm trying to say here. So definitely just super hyped and super happy of all the stuff and everything. I think that Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne had a lot of stuff in particular that made it unique and different from every other SMT game. The story was really well made, the setting was interesting, the main character was interesting as well. Just everything that was made for this particular game had a lot of pretty good stuff. And it's really one of those games that is really intriguing. There's a mystery to it that you kind of want to uncover. The main character, just to give you a little bit of a setting here, if you haven't played this game. So you start as a high schooler, you're in a certain place, and the main character is told about the end of the world, the apocalypse, and so on, and he just doesn't know what's gonna happen or anything. He finds himself being turned into a demon once the apocalypse actually happens and everything gets destroyed and everything, and you're trying to find out what happened to you, who did that to you, what's going on, who caused the apocalypse, where are your friends, because you get separated from your friends, and it's the whole adventure. Just a lot of mysteries, a lot of things going on, intricacies, twists and turns and everything. This game is really interesting because it's very much a game where a lot of the mystery, a lot of the charm of this particular game is just finding out what's going on, but at the same time just getting to know all the strange characters that you meet. There are some interesting, charming characters, demons that you meet, because you also meet a lot of demons. Everybody that you just see is just so interesting, and I guess that's really the charm of this game, just everything in general. Honestly, I would love if I could see this game remade at some point, because it's a fantastic gem. If you haven't played this game, definitely encourage you to play the game. And coming up next, this is another game that I also really enjoy. I also want to congratulate, and that's SMT Devil Summoner, particularly Ryo Kasuga and the Soulless Army. If you haven't played this game, also it's amazing. This takes place in the 1920s Japan, so it has a really smooth jazz style to it. All the music is made by the same composer as the Persona games and everything like that. And this follows the story of a detective in the 1920s with his pet cat, and he just discovers mysteries. He's also a devil summoner. He uses his powers to control demons, as well as just finding mysteries and so on. So it's pretty interesting and pretty unique in a sense, because he has that 1920s style to it in Japan. It's really intriguing. I really recommend playing this game. And it also turned 13 years old yesterday or a couple days ago, so I also want to congratulate that game as well. Just all these games here coming up, you know, it's hard to believe seeing them over 10 years old, because a lot has happened since then, and I'm really enjoying just going back to look my original gameplay and everything, because I have recorded a lot of this gameplay and everything. So I definitely encourage you guys to play this game. The style to it, the music is just so good. Shoji Meguro does amazing soundtrack in here. Encourage you to play it. Even if you haven't played the game, I strongly recommend you checking out the music for it, because it's just really good. Moving into other games, Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, which, fun fact, it was supposed to be one single game, but it was divided into two separate games just because of the massive gameplay and everything. Also, interesting story. I don't really want to spoil this too much, but I do strongly recommend you playing it. This is definitely Atlus's one of Atlus's best work, I think. There's definitely a lot of layers to this game, and I strongly recommend you to play it again. It's just a really good game. I think this is what I will call the golden era of Atlus's games. So definitely love those two games. Moving on next, I'm gonna change it up a bit from SMT for a minute to talk about one of Atlus's other big franchises, or I feel like other really good franchises, and that's Trauma Center. There's a couple of them for the DS and for the Wii U. They're interesting games that deal with the life as doctors trying to save the world, not the world, but different people that come into your door and everything like that. But it makes this obvious sense of drama and storytelling and everything. So I strongly recommend you checking them out if you haven't. These games are extremely cheap online. They're like $1 or $2. So again, these games are really good games, and they have a really good storytelling to them, because they're made by the same team that does SMT games. So there's really good gameplay here and really interesting stories too. So definitely should check those out as well. And talking about DS games, there's another two games that I want to talk about, and that is the SMT Devil Survivors 1 and 2. There is the overclocked versions of them as well, which is kind of like a remake, enhanced version. Think of things like Persona 5 Royal and so on. And these two games are fantastic. I strongly and all of these games, if you could definitely check them out, you should definitely check them out. These gameplay different from all the other SMT games, which they are not turn-based RPG style, but more in a I'll say more in a if I were to recommend something similar to this will be something like the Fire Emblem games. They play similar to those games, I guess, in a sense. I don't know what you call those, the style of gameplay. I really like them, and the story is just pretty good. I really like the main character in the second game. I like his art. The artwork is also really good, and just watching them move and everything is just pretty good. I really like the artwork for these games. I wish I would see more games from the same art director that did this one, because I really like this game and everything. So really cool stuff there. Obviously the Persona series, which I just want to say, fantastic series. I really love all of them. My favorite is Persona 3. I feel like that's a game that is very similar to the Shin Megami Tensei games. In particularly, I feel like just the storytelling style to it. There's a sense of suspense and drama in this particular game, but that I think it pretty much connects very well to the SMT games. But Persona 3, 4, and 5 strongly recommend them playing. 2 and 1, I feel like they haven't aged too well, but Persona 2 is extremely good. There's two different parts to it, so I definitely will say, if you want to play in between Persona 1 and 2, I'll say Persona 2 will be pretty good. And again, that has two parts to it, so again, pretty cool stuff. Another series that I will recommend is Katherine. Katherine, I don't know if you could call it a series, even though there's two games now, but the second game is the same as the first one, but just enhanced. It just recently came out, so I really like that game. I think it has a mature charm to it, just being about this guy who cheated on his girlfriend, and he's having these nightmares about going up this tower. If he dies in the nightmares, he could die in reality, and it's almost like you're trying to solve this mystery, but at the same time you're trying to solve Vincent's Vincent is the name of the main character. He's issues, because he definitely has like issues with relationships, with his friends, with a bunch of different stuff that he's dealing through. And it's just really interesting making these choices for him, just kind of trying to solve what's going on and everything. At the same time, saving his life, because he will eventually die if you don't save him. So it is a fantastic game. I definitely encourage that game. And pretty much all of these games. Another game that I will talk about is Dragon's Crown. Dragon's Crown is not made by Atlus, it's made by Vanillaware, but it's an Atlus game, so I will say check that out as well. I think the art style is extremely beautiful. Everything is hand-drawn 2D animation. It's a side-scroller type of game, and I just really like the style to it. It has a really distinctive style, and I will say I really like the style to those particular games. Speaking of particular styles, there is this other series that I will say that you should definitely check out as well, and these are the Atrian Odyssey games. I think that these games are much different from everything else that they have, but if you want to compare something, Atrian Odyssey games have the same gameplay style as the Persona Q games because they're made by the same people. These focus on the dungeon crawling style in 3D. You can play these games on the DS and the 3DS. There's many of them at this point, but I think they're all really well made. The gameplay is distinctive and it's on its own merits, and the stories are pretty good too. I find them to be funny and interesting, so definitely should check those out as well. Everything that I say again, definitely should play any of these games because they're really good. Anyway, that's pretty much in my list here. I'm rambling at this point because there's so many other games that I want to talk about, but I don't want to make this game like 20 minutes long just talking about all these games that I like and everything. I think I already went over my 10-minute mark, which I usually start on, but anyway, that is pretty much on this video here. I just want to talk about all the games that I like, the games that I don't know if there's a game that I don't like per se. I think I like most of the games. Persona 5 obviously I would recommend as well, or any other Persona games really. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. If you're new, please consider liking and subscribing. I know this video was more like a rambling than anything else. It is because I was just so excited to talk about all these games. I think as much as I talk about SMT and Persona and all these games, it's just nice to talk about what I like and how much I like these games, and what I think about every single individual game and everything like that. So yeah, that is it, guys. I'll see you next time.